Hello, welcome all to another car video review. This time the car behind me is Jaguar's new XF. I'll go through, as always, the exterior of the car, show you some of the design elements that are new, take you inside and show off, importantly, some of the tech, and of course tell you how the car drives as well. So let's go and take a closer look, and you can all tell me what you think of Jaguar's new XF. So those unfamiliar with the Jaguar brand, the XF is Jaguar's mid-size saloon. So let's think of rival to BMW 5 Series, Mercedes E-Class, Audi A6. Now the original XF was launched back in 2007 and really was the first proper modern Jaguar. Jaguars of old always suffered with that reputation of being old man cars. So the 2007 XF was really a revelation in comparison to the Jaguars of old. But this new XF launched really back in the end of 2015. It takes all the design elements of really the Jaguar's small baby XE and then upgrades it to a much bigger size. The range starts at 32,000, just over 32,000 pounds here in the UK. It again has the Jaguar all aluminium construction, which improves fuel economy and lowers emissions. You can, believe it or not, get this XF with a manual gearbox. A manual gearbox with the diesel engine can offer up to 70 miles per gallon and actually gets the CO2 emissions down to 104 grams per kilometre. I think for me, I wish there'd been a bit more differentiation between the XF and the XE. If you see the two of them on the road, you can't really tell which is which. But let's not forget, this is a very stylish car, and hopefully that's coming through in the video. Really nice from the front. Jaguar's trademark gaping grille there, and you have those smart bi-xenon LED headlamps with the Jaguar LJ blade, they call it, daytime running lights. And then it's a very sleek looking car. The point with the XF was that it always had that sloping roofline, which meant with the original car it wasn't overly practical. It had a bit of, it lacked some rear space. This model fixes that. It's much bigger inside, but it still retains that sleek, sports-like stance on the road and makes it look a bit, well, certainly more exotic than the competition. And then moving round to the rear, the Jaguar badge leaving you in no doubt of the car that's just passed you, and you get those smart rear lights as well. Inspiration from the Jaguar sports car, the F-Type there, with the signature swoop of the lights. But I don't know if it comes across in the camera, but you can see actually how the slope of the rear window is really quite pronounced. And the designers said that they wanted to make it look like a sports coupe, which with these bigger wheels I think it certainly does. So yes, I wish it differentiated itself a bit more from Jaguar's XE, but it's certainly a very smart car. And it gets a lot of looks on the road, and really it's all about making Jaguar that cool sports saloon brand, really, for the 21st century. Gone are the days where Jaguars used to be associated with old men and golf clubs. Let's take a look inside. I'll show you the interior, how the car is different from its predecessor, and again show you some of the tech. Stepping inside Jaguar's new XF then, first thing really to tell you is there is much more space than the previous generation car. So much more headroom, legroom, certainly in the back as well, which I will show you. But the other point is you can see the similarities here between the XE, so the smaller entry-level Jaguar, and the new XF. Now if it was me, again I would prefer a bit more differentiation between the models. But nevertheless, it's a smart interior, some nice touches unique to the XF. I'll show you, for example, when you start the car, you should see that the the ventilation vents rotate open. The Jaguars say with this that they always like to give some surprise and delight features, or to make you feel like the car is awakening when you turn it on, which is a nice touch, I have to admit. You get the Riva inspired veneer that goes all the way from the side of the passenger seat in this case all the way round to the front, and then that loops round to the driver's side as well, which has been inspired by some motoring yachts. The Riva is a particularly glamorous yacht from the 1950s, so it has a bit of a nautical theme there. But the point is, with this loop, it kind of hems you in and cocoons you in, so it makes you feel like you sit low in the XF anyway, but it makes you feel like you're sat in a sports car, which is also helped by a wide centre console, again featuring Jaguar's rotating gear selector here, which comes up. I'll just turn the car off so you can see. So at rest, that gives it a nice clean feel as it sinks back into its hole. You get a standard 8-inch touchscreen, again familiar to any current Jaguar owner. It's much more responsive than it used to be, but you can upgrade to a 10.2 inch, which gives you a much bigger screen and gets rid of these buttons as well. You can also then have a virtual dashboard. So with this particular car, again if I turn it on so you can see a bit better, you get the conventional instruments, speedometer on the left, rev counter on the right, with a TFT central display. But what you can have is a full TFT display, which gives virtual rendering to all the instruments. The key thing being is that if we turn the navigation on, what it does offer is it puts the navigation screen all the way across the front dashboard. It's a shame I can't show you that with this particular example, but it's a really nice option to have with the car, and really brings it in again right bang up to date in terms of technology. Other things, if you can see that there, we've got a nice head-up display there, which is incredibly useful. So if you're seriously considering getting one of these cars, specify the optional head-up display. Just puts the speed and importantly the navigation instructions right up there in front of you, and saves taking your eyes off the wheel. Other things to tell you about the interior, as I say, it's a smart design. I don't massively like this. For me, as I said, I think in my previous XE video, it reminds me of a hi-fi system from, let's say, the 1990s. So I think this could be better executed. I think when you take a sit in the car, for me, a Jaguar should always wow you, and I certainly think the exterior wows you. When you step inside, I'm not sure it's so wow. It's a nice contemporary design, but I just would like a bit more style, and certainly would like a bit more differentiation between the XE and XF. There are some nice material finishes in here. I mean, it's not metal, but it feels nice. The leather could be a bit better quality. It feels a bit hard. It's not as buttery soft as I would expect from Jaguar, but you do get some lovely double stitching there. Steering wheel is really nice to hold, inspired by Jaguar's F. I think it literally is taken from Jaguar's F-Type, their infamous sports car, but it's really nice to grab hold of. And you can of course choose your wood veneer, this being a dark stained wood, but you can get piano black, which is like this here, or a more traditional burr walnut. And I think, you know, anyone who knows or has watched my videos knows that I quite like a bright interior, so this interior I think would look much better if it was a lighter colour, just to give it a bit more feeling of airiness. You can have black and red leather seats, which again, anyone that knows me will know that I like that, which would help again to make the interior feel a bit more special. I think black with black is just a bit too Germanic, and I think anyone who remembers the Jaguars of old wouldn't associate black leather with Jaguars. Rather, a nice lighter cream leather would be better. Yeah, but yeah, so overall, you know, a stylish interior. It could be a bit better executed. Some of the materials aren't up as high standard as you would get with rivals like BMW or Audi or Mercedes, so they could do with improving that a touch. But the seats, if you look here, they're supremely comfortable, and that's the other key thing that I will come to with the car, is it's beautifully refined and very, very comfortable to sit in on long journeys as well. I'll just flip into the back so you can see some of the space gains that you get with this new XF. Anyone that watched my XE video will note that I bemoaned the fact that the rear seat space isn't as large as it should be, making it almost a 2+2, so 2 adults and 2 children. So if you want the bigger space, or you need bigger space, it's really worth stepping up to the XF. The price difference between the XE and the XF, roughly on a like-for-like basis, is about £5,000. But to give you a demonstration, getting in is much easier, and there's so much more legroom. So Jaguar really say that really, if you have you want a car that's capable of carrying really 3 adults on a short journey, or at least 2 adults on a regular basis in the back, it's worth having the extra space the XF offers. The other point to say, despite the sloping roofline, there's plenty of headroom. I don't know if you can see that, but there's what do we call that? A hollow there taken out of the roof lining to give a bit more space. So headroom is certainly not restricted in any way. Legroom is much better, and there's much more space between passengers as well. So a big win there for the XF. Just continuing the convenience theme, if we open the boot lid, you'll see the XF offers way more luggage room than it used to. A really carnivorous deep boot there that goes back an awful long way. It's like staring into a black hole, but it gives you an idea. Much bigger luggage space, so we get more interior space, more luggage space, so the car is much more convenient than its predecessor, and is actually on par, if not better, than some of the rivals in its class. So looking at the tech in a little bit more detail, as I said before, you get a touchscreen, 18-inch touchscreen as standard, which works much better than the touchscreens of Jaguar Land Rover products did before. The only thing I would say with touchscreens, as I have said a few times now, you're probably bored of it, but I do think that they can be a bit of a distraction when you're driving, if you're having to reach over and point and press. I much prefer the BMW way, which often has a little dial here that you can control as you're moving along. That said, the voice recognition works fairly well, so that gets around the issue of having to point and press all the time. So if we press this, well, in this particular case, press this button on the steering wheel. Navigation.
Say the name of the town.
Solihull.
Select a line number.
Line 1.
Line 1. Solihull. Say the street name.
High Street.
Select a line number.
Line 1.
Line 1. Multiple entries for High Street. Select a line number.
Line 1.
Line 1. High Street. Say the house number.
100.
100. That house number was not found on the selected street. Say the house number.
200.
200. That house number was not found on the selected street.
Centre.
Now, do you want to start route guidance?
Yes. Yes, please.
Starting route guidance.
So you get an idea. It can be a bit of a rigmarole, but at least it gets around. If you're travelling down the motorway, for example, you can just bark your orders, and hope eventually the car will deliver. Other items to show you. The nice thing with XF is if we scroll along, you get a Wi-Fi hotspot in the car. I think it allows you to connect 4 different users at the same time, which is great if you've got children who are sat in the back. It's a nice way to keep them content and happy, so that's a really nice touch. In control apps, it allows you, it won't work with my phone for some reason, which is a fairly old HTC, but either way, you can connect your smartphone to the car and that will take some of the apps from your phone and put them onto the screen in front of you, so it allows a bit more of that smartphone functionality. It also provides you with the app on your phone, so you can check your car status at any point, whether the car's locked, how much fuel's in it, those kind of things, which is very useful. Cameras, you get a 360 view here, which is made up of the 4 different cameras dotted around the car, and you can then zoom in on a particular one. If we go down here, press the camera button. So for example, if we wanted the rear view mixed with the front view, okay, maybe not, you can then zoom in to get a much bigger a view. If we then go back, turn that one off, put the front one on, and then you get the combination of the two. The other useful one actually is when you come to a T-junction, you can use the cameras on the side. Turn that one off, put that one on, turn that one off. There we go. Not a great view, makes you feel a bit sick now, but if you're coming to a T-junction, it allows you then to inch forward and see if anything's coming, which is really useful as a safety feature. There is a nice touch, if we get out of this, go to Eco Data. It tells you impact on fuel from having air conditioning on. You can look at your driving style. It hasn't worked because I'm not moving at the minute, but it will give you a readout of how sensitive you are with the accelerator, brake, those kind of things. Advanced trip, there it tells me my best MPG is 50 miles per gallon, and the last trip was 32.5. Now, bearing in mind this is the 3 litre diesel model, so to get to 50 or over 50 miles to the gallon from a big 3 litre diesel, which is very quick, that's pretty impressive and helps illustrate the benefits of going aluminium, with the Jaguar feels much lighter on its feet than its rivals. So we've already established that the new Jaguar XF has more space than its predecessor, but where it also really delivers is in how it drives. There are a number of engines to choose from. The big volume sellers will be the 2 litre diesel model, which you can have in 2 states of tune. You can have that also with the manual gearbox or an automatic gearbox. There is a 3.5 litre supercharged petrol engine, which, given petrol prices here in the UK, is not going to be a volume seller. But what we do have here, and it could be the pick of the range, is the 3 litre diesel model. 3 litre diesel comes as standard with the 8-speed automatic gearbox, and it offers supreme performance, 0 to 60 in 6 seconds real world. It's a very quick real world car, simply because there is so much torque available, and it is ultra smooth for a diesel engine. Beautifully refined and smooth. It's a little bit loud on initial startup and at idle speeds, but really once up to speed it is supremely quiet and beautifully refined. Offers performance, 150 miles an hour top speed. Not really relevant here in the UK. What is relevant though is that on a long journey you will do about 45 miles to the gallon, so you can have the performance of a big 6-cylinder engine, but the fuel benefit of what you would expect to be a much smaller diesel engine. So performance and fuel economy of 45, even 50 miles to the gallon if you really drive carefully. But the nice thing with it is, because it's a 6-cylinder diesel, it offers that touch more refinement than you get with the 4-cylinder diesel engines, which are a bit louder and not as smooth. The other points really to say, continuing the refinement theme, is the car is so smooth to drive. This car, as you probably saw from the exterior shots, it comes on the bigger wheels. These are 20-inch wheels, and usually when you get bigger wheels you suffer with a deterioration in ride quality. But I don't know how Jaguar do it, but they always manage to get the balance spot on between having a lovely, beautifully comfortable, smooth ride, but also handling as well is up there. You turn in with this car and the nose immediately responds, beautiful steering, and the car just has that perfect trade-off. It's very comfortable, but it doesn't roll all over the place in the corners. So refinement wise is up there, and it's a driver's car. You know, corners beautifully, the engine is super responsive, gearbox is really smooth as well. So that's where the XF really delivers. Interior quality could be better, I have to admit, but really if you want a car that looks good and drives fantastic, the Jaguar XF really, that's its trump card. You know, get the engine choice right and you have the economy there as well. But it's a real car that delights drivers, and it's not going to upset passengers either, given that it is so smooth, so quiet and beautifully refined. So there you have a video review on Jaguar's new XF. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section below, and please do visit the full written report, the link to which is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you soon.